A rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
And you smell like shit.
Yep.
Hey, welcome back to our Stupid Reactions. It's up, Corbin.
I am Ricardo.
Follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
for
juicy content.
It's so juicy.
Follow us on person YouTube. Links in the description below. Today, we are doing a movie review. And a person who is on Twitter will be very happy. There's one gentleman who's been asking
for 2 years.
2 years,
Yep.
asking us to do a review of this. So I hope you're happy, sir. But this is of the Namesake, the 2006. I think it was an English film mostly.
What was our first Irrfan film that we did on the channel? Not
Header, I think.
Was it?
I think it was Header.
All right.
I think so. I could be wrong. Why?
It just struck me.
Yeah.
I couldn't recall what was, like, we'd obviously seen him way before that. I saw him in Jurassic World, saw him in Life of Pi, but I couldn't figure that out. But yeah, there's been several people.
I think it was Header.
And from the get-go, that's why I thought of that, is because from our first Irrfan film,
This gentleman's been obsessed with us reviewing this, but it's a Mira Nar, right? Niar?
Yeah, or Nair.
Yeah. Film, and I think it was mostly in English.
Yeah, because it's a Fox Searchlight Pictures, which is a US based. They may have a UK studio as well, but it's I think it was designed and released as an American film.
Yeah, I think so. But she's done a bunch. This director, she's done Monsoon Wedding, Salam Bombay, and a bunch of other stuff. I believe she's a really well-known director, but obviously starring the amazing Irrfan and Tabu, and then also starring Kal Penn in the role as their son.
Correct.
So this came out a while ago. Obviously, it'll be 100% spoiler review. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Come back. I think it's on HBO. That's how it's your first HBO thing we've ever seen.
It's on Amazon Prime too.
You can rent it.
You can rent it there. Yeah, it's not for free, but I did find it over there as well as on HBO.
But Rick, your initial thoughts?
Got a paragraph.
Oh, good.
A beautiful film of subtle profundities and deeply personal expressions without words. As easy and effortless a film as Irrfan and Tabu are as artists, and for those of us connected to India in any way, a perfectly genuine and tremendously honest depiction of the differences between East and West, and how still to this day there's so much the West can learn from the East and vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my take.
So you liked it?
A lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I liked it until a point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot.
It basically was like this, and then it went...
Oh, really?
Real bad.
Really? Okay. So what part went for you?
Basically, right after he died, and it was more focused on Kal Penn.
Okay.
First of all, I've never liked Kal Penn. I think that's how you pronounce his name, right?
I believe that's correct.
Obviously, we've seen him a lot in America. I liked him in Harold and Kumar, but because I was high as shit.
Made it a lot better. Well, lucky you should have done that.
Yeah, I should have been.
Yeah.
But it fell into a lot of the categories similar to English Vinglish, with a lot of supporting people were just terrible. It was hard for me to watch.
More than just him, like other people around him?
Like the one, okay. I really enjoyed most of the film. 3/4 of the film, I really enjoyed it. It's obviously, especially Tabu and Irrfan.
We'll get into that.
Obviously.
Trust me, we'll get into that.
They are phenomenal. They are wonderful. I enjoyed every second they were on screen. It actually pissed me off when they weren't on screen. I was like, please just focus on them.
Back.
That's what I wanted. But yeah, he did his best.
I was gonna
sure, but the thing that really bothered me was the one with him and the girl he got married to. Their whole relationship lasted 5 minutes. So they set him up. They had sex.
Right.
They got a relationship. Got married. She's having an affair.
Right.
It's over. Real fast. I didn't think she was particularly good. I didn't care about the relationship very much. I didn't care about almost any of the supporting characters. I thought weren't very good at all.
Okay.
But up until the point Irrfan died, I really enjoyed this film. Because this is going to sound like I really hated it, but it did take a steep, right after that, when it focused more on Kal, it took a steep decline because there wasn't that stability in it for me.
So it was more than just, because I had a feeling you would hate the character.
Yeah.
But it was more than hating the character.
It was hard to watch.
Okay.
In terms of his acting. I think I said it in the trailer reaction. I was like, that would be my concern. And that's essentially what happened to him. Yeah. But it was actually more so the supporting people around him. Like any of his love interests, I did not believe. I did not like.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It was quite strange.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have...
You didn't have that problem?
No. He wasn't... His... As is most things I've seen him in, he's not somebody that I necessarily gravitate toward, but doesn't bother me. Example, like I'm not a Nick Cage fan, but Nick Cage doesn't bother me. I can watch Nick doing his thing. And
Nick bothers me.
Does he?
Yes, Nick Cage bothers me. Except in Kick-Ass. He was really good in Kick-Ass.
Even National Treasure?
It's fine.
See,
Fine.
So
this wasn't as fun as the National Treasure.
But the supporting characters for me, like I felt like everything that was going on with Gogol was really ancillary to the larger thing that
about the relationship with the father.
Yeah, everything he was doing.
Yeah.
Whatever relationship he was in, he wasn't trying to find himself. He was running away from himself.
That's true.
And I felt like every relationship that he had that was connected to him in some way was written in order to not get him in too deep in this thing he was running away from. So it didn't bother me at all.
It wasn't so much just outside of the fact that their whole relationship lasted a total of 5 minutes.
But you didn't like her, the actress?
No, it was mostly the
Interesting.
acting
She didn't bother
after
me at all.
Irrfan passed, which was incredibly sad.
We're going to talk about that.
It actually made me want to read the book because I've heard this is based off a book,
right?
And apparently it's a fantastic, well-known book.
Yeah.
So I would actually be very interested in reading because I'm sure that relationship actually goes obviously more in depth and all that kind of stuff. So I would be very interested. But yes, my favorite parts in terms of the whole part that I would say I like this film a lot more than I dislike it because the parts I dislike were mostly at the end.
I liked it all the way through.
Part, but it was a pretty steep decline. But
did you like how it ended?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fine.
It was just fine?
Yeah, it was fine. I actually said at the end, I was like, well, it kind of ruined a great film for me.
Really?
It was mostly the acting. But like I said, I don't want to harp on that.
Okay.
I'm done. That was my issues with it. Let's talk about what we enjoyed.
One of the rare occasions where I like a film more than you had liked it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about...
my favorite parts.
So let me tell you the part that... you tell me how this struck you. Now, I'm glad we waited to watch this.
Yeah.
Because seeing Irrfan on a slab was really, really hard to watch.
Yeah. Very hard.
And to have watched that any sooner, I don't know that I could have really seen the film for what it is. It just would have been that. It was hard enough as it is. And to watch a funeral ceremony knowing that not just this character with her husband are so close, knowing how much Tabu and Irrfan worked together and what his passing probably meant for her personally, that just freaking sucked.
Yeah.
That was just awful.
Yeah. His character in this, though, was so good. Obviously, I never expect a character of his to be bad, ever. It would be shocking.
A shock.
It would be an absolute shock. If he put in a bad performance, I would be flabbergasted.
You'd have to have some of the worst writing and directing and him having had an awful week.
And same with Tabu.
Yeah. Same with Tabu.
Same level of
and I think, actually, if I was... Because I do this all the time with the actors that I love. I will tell them which films I think they should see and in which order.
Yeah.
Right now, sitting in the after effect of The Namesake, I think this is a fitting film to watch of his as like the last. Now, we haven't seen all of his films.
Yeah.
But if you really want to weigh the impact, because as a metaphor or an analogy, really, his impact on this family is Irrfan's impact on the acting world in India, and his passing being such a shock and such a loss, and his imprint on acting, and again, an effortless, easy.
One of my favorite performances of his, actually.
Me too.
It was so beautiful. Like, I loved the character that was written for him.
Me too.
The father type that he was. Even though he obviously was an arranged marriage, he was such a sweet man. And the one time he was annoyed with his wife because she did something. He was like, "Oh, that's my bad. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry."
So he was such a sweet, wonderful husband.
Complete opposite of who he was in the Priyanka film. Remember that was awful. I was like the antithesis of this guy. And then I already love Tabu, and she's already my favorite Indian actress. But like,
she was great.
Not a false moment.
No, never.
She's beautiful. Her character, I was so sad for her so often. And there were so many little things, like just her being in the laundromat and the weird guy taking his shirt off. For us, that would be
That's
normal.
New York.
That's New York. But for her, the culture shock and what we've learned about, I could feel that, what family means and what it meant to leave family and trying to create a family.
Similar to how I felt about Sridevi in English of English, when she was taken out of her culture and then brought into America.
Yeah, but this one, I wrote another thing on here, the subtleties of this, like the subtlety of the massive cultural adjustments, everything from the man in the laundromat, to the way, this gets me emotional saying it, to the way the nurse couldn't fold her sari.
Yeah.
And really didn't seem to give a crap.
Yeah.
She was just like, wow, this thing's complicated, huh? And she's like, that's really important to me. And that's pretty much the way we Indians are treated over here. Like the things that are the most precious to us, you're just like, can't fold it.
Yeah.
Right?
I did really, and I wonder how,
and that baby was not a newborn.
No.
I'm sorry.
Right when it came on screen, my wife's like,
oh yeah, no.
My wife's
that kid's like a year old.
That's bigger than Leland.
Exactly. But what were you just going to say?
What was I going to say?
I had mentioned the folding of the sari and making.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Folding of the sari. I was going to say something, and then I forgot. So say something. I might remember it again.
Okay. I'll reread what I read. That the nurse couldn't fold the sari, and the way that she folded it was like, anything that's going on with you guys here in America that's really important to you, we kind of just throw off to the side. And I talked.
Okay. So I'm wondering how it would be how accurate this is to a American Indian born here to Indian parents. So I guess that wouldn't technically be a non-resident Indian, right? But I guess it could apply to non-resident Indians.
It could apply.
But how the kids felt about going back to India, being in American culture, like how accurate is that to their life now? Because it seemed obviously, because I don't think that would be most Americans, but obviously they grew up going back and forth and they like America better. But like going to another culture and experiencing all that, they would just seem to be annoyed by being there. And so I wonder how accurate that is for a lot of people.
I think it really would depend. I think it would depend on your family. You know what I loved? I loved the sweetness where both Tabu and Irrfan's characters definitely cherished their lineage, both as Indians and as Bengalis.
Yeah.
And they wanted their son to do that. Like, they refused to call him Nicky. They always called him Gogol.
Yeah, I had no idea about this whole name.
Yeah, well, you knew about the Bengali thing.
No.
We hadn't talked about that?
I don't. We might have, and I might have forgotten.
I thought we did with Kahani. Because when she's in the taxi, she's explaining to him.
No, maybe we did, but
he's explaining to her that Bengalis have a birth name.
Yeah.
But then they have a nickname.
It's just Bengalis?
There may be other regions that do it, but like every Bengali, like Indrani, people around her, where she grew up and all of her friends and family call her Tunia.
Tunia.
She's Tunia. That's her nickname. Gotcha. But her birth name is Indrani.
Gotcha. And
all of them have this second name. I remember that in Kahani, the taxi driver explaining his name badge was one thing, but he was called something else. The Gogol, but see, the thing for him was that besides the two name thing, what I loved was they had, I felt, a really good balance of demanding to be connected to their heritage and their people and their culture and wanting their son to be that, but also letting him go do what he's going to do. The moments where he forgot his mom, That was, I was so mad at him.
Mm-hmm. He was a dick.
He was a dick. And she was...
Similar to a poo.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. Another
what
Bengali.
Is it with Bengali?
Hey, but I'm bumped. But Tabu has... She doesn't disappoint. She's never been more beautiful.
Yeah, we will watch everything she's done.
I love that woman's acting. I love her screen presence. I love the ease. Watching, I cannot think of another screen couple, aside, and I'm talking about the classics like Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn, or Robert Redford and Barbra Streisand, and these names where you put two actors together throughout history. There's no one. No one who surpasses the chemistry, the ease, and the beauty of watching acting genius like Irrfan and Tabu.
Absolutely.
It is sheer perfection.
100%. Yeah, it was my absolute favorite part of this film.
Yeah.
Was anytime they were on screen, because they're just so wonderful. And I have a friend who just watched his first Hindi film, and it was an Irrfan one. And so he'll probably really enjoy this one, even though I had issues with it, but I think he really enjoys like romantic comedies and stuff like that. He even was able to sit through Twilight with his wife at one point.
Wow.
And so obviously he doesn't have as big of issue as I have with certain things.
Wow.
But this is something, especially for Irrfan's and Tabu's performance. Like I said, one of my...
And the story.
Yeah,
and
the story. Like, I would very much be interested if you guys say it's a really good book, which I think it is. The Namesake book, I hear, is really good. I would actually be really interested in reading that because I really did enjoy the story. There were parts that I just wish they would have done better. Similar to the English of English, most of it was acting-wise.
So what do you think? What do you think ultimately he does at the end? I think it's pretty self-evident, but I love that they didn't spoon-feed us the ending. Do you think he did come full circle? And that he did reach the place that his dad said, one day you'll understand? Do you think when he's reading the words at the end that he finally embraced his name? Or do you think he still was going by Nicky with his American friends and keeping his Indian and American selves separated?
I think he definitely had a change when his dad...
Yeah, I think he reaches the place his dad said he would reach, and he amalgamates it and actually becomes even more proud of his Indian and Bengali identity than he does his American identity.
I thought it was actually a really sweet moment when he did shave his head. Because I like that I got that. I was like, okay, so the eldest always shaves their head, and then, or I think eldest male.
Yeah.
I think, or I don't know if it's all the males or if it's just the eldest male. Shaves their head, and then they don't have a shirt on when the ceremony is going on, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I thought it was a really sweet moment, especially when Tabu saw him for the first time.
Yeah, and I think that was a cathartic and definitive turning point for him, where it was not just the mourning aspect, which I think it's a beautiful way to mourn somebody, because, and it's very common in many cultures to do that and to put on sackcloth and ashes on your head. But the shaving of the head is a definitive point of that which was in the past is gone and I can never reclaim it. It's the permanence of it. And then that this is going to take me time before I'm back to normal. And everybody being accepting and recognizing, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to be back to normal. And when I am back to normal, I'll never be the same, because it's not the same hair. And I felt it was also not just that aspect of it, but it was also him reaching that point of the regret he had and saying, you know what, the Nicky who was so obsessed with being an American that I was not paying attention to my Bengali and my Indianness, that I'm dying to that too. That when my dad, that unfortunately, it took the death of my father for me to finally see who my father named me to be. Hey, that rhymed.
So, there you have it. I hope those of you who have been calling for this film are happy. Let us know what's the next Irrfan and Tabu film.
I want to see everything they've ever done.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we love an actor, we will explore everything they've ever done in their life. We've seen more of Irrfan's than we have of Tabu, so we do need to get into her
way more of hers.
So let us know which of those we should watch next, and the next film we should watch. It's not a specific region, so this is an English film, so just what's the next film we should watch next down below.